with all of your recipes, how do you come up with those and make them so they're actually delicious?
Well, it's called being a big eater and needing something to eat. So I lived, a lot of my recipes in the first book were developed when I was living in a tin shed on 7 acres in Byron Bay. So I had to cook, and I was procrastinating. I was actually writing a completely different book at the time. And so I used to eat as a way to avoid writing. So I'd cook, I'd cook all these things. And so I used to just play around with different ingredients that I liked the taste of. So that's where that first book, kind of most of the recipes developed from. And I hadn't intended on writing a cookbook, but I sort of woke up one day and realised I had over 100 recipes, which I'd been sort of developing. Well, often I'll get a recipe and I'll go, I reckon I can make that without sugar. So I'll go make work out how to make a sugar-free version. And, I've got sort of various celebrity recipes. Gwyneth Paltrow contributed a recipe to the first book. There's a bunch of others, and I'll get their recipe with sugar in it or with honey, and I'll work out the right way to do it with a fructose-free sweetener, so the stevia or rice malt syrup, which is sort of my preferred sweetener. Rice malt syrup doesn't contain any fructose. It's a slow-release carbohydrate. It's very natural. I find that I use less and less and less, and so do other people who've done my program. So in a cake this big with 12 slices, a lot of my cakes will only contain 1/3 of a cup of rice malt syrup, which is, I don't know, half a teaspoon per serve or whatever it works out to be. So it's a very, very little glucose.
With Gwyneth Paltrow contributing a recipe, how do you go about doing that? Do you get your people to get in touch with her people? Or are you and Gwenny on...
No, Gwenny and I aren't. Look, the other contributors, yes. There's quite a number of other really big cookbook authors and who I've become friends with as a result. Gwenny's got about 20 people removed from the rest of the world.
How awesome though when they're like, she'll do it. Are you like, what?
Well, what's really interesting is that one of her first books, the book that I got the recipe from, that she contributed to, used honey and sugar, raw sugar, and it was maple syrup and raw sugar. Her next book uses rice malt syrup and stevia, which is very interesting. I'm flattering myself if I think that she maybe got inspired by the fact that I use those two sweeteners, because I don't know too many people who were using those two sweeteners
together.
Before me. But fantastic that she has swapped, which is great.